Communication remains one of the absolute most potent and exceptionally effective skills any individual can possibly develop in their lifetime. It profoundly shapes your personal relationships, dictates your professional opportunities, builds your internal confidence, and ultimately determines the specific way other people remember you long after you have left the room. True success in this life is certainly not solely about raw intelligence, natural talent, or even just relentless hard work and dedication. It is also fundamentally about your unique ability to authentically connect with the people around you on a much deeper level. The underlying truth here is quite simple and undeniably powerful. If you can manage to communicate effectively and clearly, you can significantly influence your surrounding world. Countless individuals speak every single day, yet very few of them truly manage to connect with their listeners. They merely talk without leaving any lasting impact on their audience. They attempt to express themselves without ever really being fully understood by those who hear them. And primarily because of that unfortunate reality, they frequently miss out on incredible opportunities that they never even notice passing them by. Whether you passionately desire immense success in the business world, significantly stronger friendships, much better and healthier romantic relationships, or simply a great deal more confidence in everyday social situations, effective communication is the essential bridge that reliably takes you right there. The incredibly good news regarding all of this is that this particular skill can absolutely be learned and mastered by anyone willing to try. You really do not need to possess a uniquely special personality to be good at it. You certainly do not need to try to become the loudest or most boisterous person standing in the room. You simply and exclusively need to deeply understand a few fundamental key principles and then commit to practicing them with consistent dedication over time. Today, let us thoroughly explore 10 highly powerful communication lessons that possess the profound capability to completely and utterly transform the specific way you regularly interact with other people in your daily life. Lesson 1 focuses entirely on the absolute necessity to become a vastly better listener in your daily interactions. Most individuals incorrectly assume that effective communication strictly starts with the act of speaking. It absolutely does not. It actually begins with the quiet, intentional act of listening. Truly, great communicators deeply understand something that a vast majority of people completely ignore or overlook. People do not merely want to be passively heard. They desperately want to feel genuinely understood and emotionally validated. Far too often, individuals listen only while simultaneously preparing their very next response in their head. They are simply waiting patiently for their designated turn to speak, instead of paying true, undivided attention to the person currently talking. Real, authentic listening is entirely different from this highly common, unproductive habit. Real listening means being fully and completely present in the current moment. Whenever someone else is speaking to you, direct your complete focus entirely on them. Put all digital devices and other physical distractions completely away, out of sight. Maintain steady, comfortable eye contact to show your active engagement and respect. Pay close attention not exclusively to the specific words they are saying, but also to the underlying emotions they are projecting. Quite often, people are actually communicating far more through their feelings than their spoken sentences could ever explicitly reveal. The much more deeply and intently you listen, the more comprehensively you will understand their true message, and that deep understanding organically creates a highly powerful personal connection. People naturally and instinctively place their trust in those specific individuals who actively make them feel valued, heard, and important. So, if you genuinely wish to significantly improve your overall communication abilities, make a conscious, deliberate effort to speak noticeably less and listen substantially more. Lesson 2 teaches you to diligently learn how to speak with absolute clarity and precision. A great many people unintentionally lose the attention of their audience because they needlessly overcomplicate inherently simple concepts and ideas. Strong, impactful communication is certainly not about attempting to sound highly intellectual, overly sophisticated, or unnecessarily complex. It is purely about being easily and comprehensively understood by your listener. You must actively strive to avoid utilizing completely unnecessary words or confusing jargon. Deliberately remove any potential sources of confusion from your speech. Always aim to get directly to the main point of your message, without unnecessary delay or rambling. Just take a moment to imagine two different people attempting to explain the exact same concept or idea. One individual talks endlessly for 5 whole minutes, providing exhausting and endless minor details that ultimately clutter the main point. Another individual explains the very same concept brilliantly and clearly in a mere 30 seconds of focused, intentional speech, who ultimately creates a much more profound impact on the listener. Almost always, it is the second person who gets straight to the core of the matter. Clarity naturally generates a strong sense of confidence because people inherently trust and respect messages that they can comprehend quickly and without mental strain. Make it a habit to intentionally slow down your pace whenever you begin to speak. Take the necessary time to mentally organize your various thoughts right before attempting to share them out loud. Carefully think about the specific structure of your message before actually delivering it to your audience. Always remember this crucial, foundational fact. True simplicity is remarkably powerful and incredibly effective. Lesson 3 highlights the undeniable fact that genuine confidence truly changes absolutely everything in communication. People quite frequently hold the mistaken belief that a strong sense of confidence must magically appear right before taking any action. In reality, actual confidence typically appears long after the action has been repeatedly taken and practiced. True confidence is certainly not about speaking loudly or acting aggressively at all times. It is definitely not about forcefully dominating every single conversation you happen to be a part of. Genuine confidence simply means trusting yourself and your own intellect enough to honestly express your personal thoughts without harboring any lingering fear of judgment or rejection. Whenever you manage to speak with a clear sense of certainty, the people around you inevitably take notice. Stand up straight and tall to project physical assurance to the room. Speak your words clearly and with proper supportive volume. You must completely stop apologizing for every single opinion or thought you happen to share with the world. Your personal ideas truly do matter, and they fundamentally deserve to be heard by others. At the very beginning of this journey, you may understandably feel quite nervous or anxious, and that is a perfectly okay and normal reaction. Meaningful personal growth exclusively happens when you willingly step outside of your familiar, safe comfort zones. The more frequently you practice the specific act of speaking your mind, the more entirely natural that internal confidence eventually becomes. Confidence fundamentally works exactly like a physical muscle in your body. If you actively choose to use it consistently, it inevitably grows significantly stronger and more resilient over time. Lesson 4 instructs you to pay very close and careful attention to your physical body language. The art of communication is so much vastly bigger and more comprehensive than merely the spoken words you selectively choose to use. Long before you even open your mouth to utter a single syllable, the people around you are already actively forming solid, lasting impressions of who you are. Your physical posture, your level of eye contact, your hand gestures, and your subtle facial expressions constantly communicate powerful messages entirely before your audible voice ever does. If you walk directly into a crowded room, projecting a strong sense of physical confidence, people will immediately feel and recognize it. Conversely, if you walk into that exact same room, looking highly uncertain, hesitant, or timid, the people there will absolutely feel that exact energy as well. Your physical body language must always seamlessly support and visually enhance the specific words you are speaking. Strive to maintain comfortable, steady eye contact in a way that feels entirely natural to the other person. Make sure to keep a very open, welcoming, physical posture that actively invites interaction rather than blocking it. Deliberately avoid engaging in repetitive, nervous, physical movements or fidgeting that might easily distract the people trying to listen to you. Offer a warm, genuine smile whenever it feels appropriate to the natural flow of the conversation. Utilize hand and arm gestures naturally to emphasize your most important spoken points. Even remarkably small physical adjustments can routinely create huge noticeable differences in how you are perceived by the world. Remember that people are listening to you not only with their physical ears, but also observing you intently and constantly with their eyes. Lesson 5 revolves around the critical, essential need to actively develop deep emotional awareness. Effective communication is certainly not merely about coldly exchanging factual information or raw data points with another human being. It is fundamentally about deeply understanding and validating human emotions. Having strong emotional intelligence actively allows you to better comprehend your very own internal feelings, while simultaneously empowering you to clearly recognize those exact same emotions dwelling within others. Just imagine for a moment trying to speak with someone who currently feels highly frustrated, heavily stressed, or deeply disappointed about something occurring in their life. If you foolishly choose to completely ignore their turbulent emotional state and strictly focus only on the cold, hard facts of the situation, your intended message will most likely fail to land. Human beings naturally require an emotional connection long before they are truly ready to connect on a purely logical or rational level. You must actively learn how to quickly notice subtle emotional signals and unspoken cues. Pay very close, deliberate attention to the subtle shifts in their vocal tone, their shifting facial expressions, and their overall physical energy. And perhaps most importantly of all, you must learn to successfully regulate and closely manage your very own emotional responses. Reacting to a situation highly impulsively almost always creates a deep sense of lingering regret. However, responding carefully and thoughtfully to that same situation consistently creates a profound sense of mutual respect. Emotionally intelligent individuals routinely create vastly superior conversations because they deeply understand the complex human beings involved, not just the vocabulary words being mindlessly exchanged. Lesson 6 focuses intently on the vital importance of actively removing weak, hesitant language from your daily vocabulary. A great many people unknowingly and accidentally weaken their overall communication effectiveness by relying on completely unnecessary, tentative phrases. Relying heavily on uncertain words like maybe, I guess, sort of, or probably will instantly and drastically reduce the perceived confidence of your core message. Just take a moment to imagine saying out loud, I think maybe we should strongly consider perhaps trying this new approach. Now, carefully compare that hesitant, weak statement directly with, let's definitely try this new approach. The glaring difference between those two statements is incredibly powerful and immediately obvious to anyone listening. The very first one sounds highly uncertain, timid, and unsure, while the second one sounds distinctly decisive, commanding, and clear. Adopting this strategic mindset certainly does not mean that you need to start becoming overly aggressive, arrogant, or bossy. It simply means that you should start speaking with clear, deliberate intention behind your chosen words. Furthermore, you must carefully watch out for pesky, distracting filler words such as like, and the ever-present you know. The vast majority of people utilize these verbal crutches constantly, without ever consciously realizing they are even doing it. Instead of desperately trying to fill every single moment of silence with totally unnecessary audible sounds, simply choose to pause. Embracing a brief moment of silence can actually make you appear significantly more confident, composed, and deeply thoughtful. Truly powerful and exceptionally effective speakers are always remarkably comfortable, allowing strategic pauses to exist within their speech. Lesson 7 strongly advises you to skillfully adapt your specific style of communication to fit the precise moment. It is absolutely vital to recognize that not every single person in the world thinks or processes information in the exact same manner. Vastly different individuals will naturally respond quite differently to the very same message. Truly great and highly effective communicators possess a deep, intuitive understanding of their specific audience at any given time. The casual, relaxed way you naturally speak with your closest friends obviously differs significantly from the highly formal, structured way you must speak during a serious professional business meeting. While your core underlying message may very well remain quite similar, the specific method of delivery must necessarily change to suit the environment and the listeners. Some individuals heavily prefer strict logic and raw data, while other individuals respond much better to heartfelt emotion, narrative, and passion. Some listeners desperately want to hear all the minute, intricate details, whereas others exclusively want to understand the broader, bigger picture immediately. You must continuously train yourself to pay very close attention to the live reactions of your audience. Actively notice the subtle shifts in their physical body language as you speak to them. Carefully observe their fluctuating levels of genuine interest and engagement. Be entirely willing and ready to smoothly adjust your overall communication style whenever it is clearly needed. Maintaining this kind of conversational flexibility routinely creates vastly stronger and much more durable interpersonal connections. People will naturally listen to you much more carefully and intently whenever they genuinely feel that their specific preferences are being comprehensively understood and fully respected. Lesson 8 emphasizes the absolute, undeniable necessity to actively strengthen and strictly control your vocal delivery. Your physical speaking voice carries a tremendous amount of tangible energy and influential power. The exact same written sentence can easily create completely and totally different emotional reactions depending entirely on the specific manner in which it is audibly delivered to the listener. Your vocal tone matters immensely. Your speaking pacing matters incredibly. Your overall volume matters deeply. A great many nervous, inexperienced speakers tend to rapidly rush through their sentences simply because any amount of silence feels highly uncomfortable or terribly awkward to them. In stark contrast, highly confident and deeply experienced communicators deliberately choose to slow down their pace. They generously allow their spoken words to properly breathe and resonate in the open air. They utilize strategic pauses, highly intentionally to build suspense, create impact, or emphasize a crucial point. They masterfully change their vocal rhythm and word emphasis to successfully maintain the strict attention of their listeners. You should strongly consider practicing by actively recording your own speaking voice during a presentation or conversation. Take the necessary time to listen back to it very carefully and highly critically. Deliberately notice the specific areas where you tend to speak way too quickly, or perhaps way too softly. Making a dedicated, sustained effort to actively improve your vocal control can dramatically and noticeably improve your overall physical presence in any room, simply because true communication is certainly not only about the specific words chosen. It is fundamentally about the masterful, confident delivery of those precise words. Lesson 9 reveals the immense, undeniable power found deeply within the traditional art of storytelling. Bare, sterile facts may successfully inform people on a logical level, but compelling, well-crafted stories are what truly move people to emotional action. Human beings possess a deeply natural biological inclination to vividly connect with narratives because impactful stories effortlessly create strong, lasting, emotional resonance. Just take a brief moment to think deeply about your absolute favorite public speaker, your most beloved former teacher, or a deeply inspiring mentor. You most likely remember their engaging personal stories far more vividly and accurately than you remember the specific raw facts they attempted to teach you. Engaging, emotional stories actively make your core messages highly memorable and remarkably sticky. You certainly do not need to possess wildly extraordinary, dramatic, or unbelievable life experiences to utilize this effectively. Very simple, everyday moments can easily become highly powerful and deeply relatable teaching lessons. Perhaps you once learned something incredibly valuable from a painful, highly personal failure. Perhaps navigating a highly difficult and uniquely stressful challenge ultimately taught you a deeply important universal truth. Perhaps a seemingly small, insignificant daily experience permanently changed your overall perspective on how life works. Those specific, genuine human moments truly matter to your audience. Well-crafted, authentic stories effectively create a deep sense of connection, primarily because they actively help other people clearly see parts of their own complex lives reflected directly within your personal message. Whenever you can successfully make people genuinely feel something deep inside their hearts, they will absolutely remember it for a very long time. Lesson 10 serves as a crucial, ultimate reminder to practice these specific skills continuously and relentlessly. The complex, highly nuanced art of communication is certainly not something that can ever be fully mastered in a single day, a week, or even a month. Exactly like developing any other highly valuable life skill, genuine lasting improvement requires a great deal of consistent repetition and unwavering dedication. Every single conversation you have inevitably becomes a fresh, exciting opportunity for practical practice. Every single social interaction you engage in becomes a brand new opportunity to thoroughly test your growing abilities. Make it a strict, daily habit to pay very close attention to your individual performance immediately after your conversations successfully conclude. Actively ask yourself some difficult, highly probing questions. Did I truly listen carefully and intently to the other person? Did I manage to speak clearly, concisely, and with distinct purpose? Did I successfully stay mentally present in the current moment without drifting away? What specific areas could I actively work to improve upon for next time? These seemingly small, brief moments of internal reflection consistently create major, undeniable personal growth over a long period of time. Furthermore, you should actively and bravely seek out honest, highly constructive feedback from trusted individuals around you. Sometimes other people can easily notice repetitive vocal habits or physical tics that we completely fail to ever see in ourselves. True personal growth only really begins when your internal self-awareness significantly increases. And always remember this highly vital truth. Achieving absolute perfection is certainly not the actual goal here. Continuous, steady, and noticeable progress is the only true objective. As you diligently continue along this highly rewarding path of actively improving your communication skills, you will inevitably begin to notice some truly remarkable, life-altering changes in your daily life. Everyday conversations will steadily become significantly easier and far more naturally fluid. Your internal sense of self-confidence will become substantially stronger and much more resilient to external, negative pressure. Your various personal and professional relationships will organically become much deeper, vastly more meaningful, and far more emotionally rewarding. The people surrounding you will gradually begin responding to your presence entirely differently and completely new. Highly exciting opportunities will begin suddenly appearing in places where they simply did not exist before. Effective communication profoundly touches and heavily influences absolutely every single vital area of your entire human existence. Your long-term career trajectory, your most cherished personal relationships, your foundational internal confidence, your inherent ability to successfully lead others, and your overall level of societal influence. Absolutely everything in your life undeniably improves whenever your fundamental ability to communicate effectively improves. The modern world currently does not need any more meaningless, highly distracting noise. What it desperately requires is a much larger quantity of truly meaningful, deeply impactful voices. We genuinely need individuals who willingly choose to listen carefully and deeply to others, individuals who boldly choose to speak with clear, well-defined purpose, and individuals who consistently choose to communicate with absolute, unwavering authenticity. You fundamentally possess the innate capability to become exactly one of those remarkable, highly influential people. You certainly do not need to achieve flawless perfection. You simply and exclusively need to deeply commit to ongoing, dedicated practice. So, make the firm, uncompromising decision to start today. Choose to listen far more deeply to the people around you. Strive to speak much more clearly and concisely in all matters. Courageously show far more authentic confidence in your daily interactions. Actively seek to connect with others much more intentionally, primarily because your unique, highly individual voice carries an immense amount of undeniable, world-changing power. If you choose to use it wisely and thoughtfully, it can absolutely change the entire trajectory of your entire life.